Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I will just give a quick intro about me. Myself, Lavanya. I'm currently working as a senior cloud engineer at Reddington, and I also been a part of Cloud and Love tech community for around 4 years. So we are just helping the cancer child, and we team. We also help each other to grow. Uh, So today we are going to see about RHCSA training. So how I just cleared my training, exam, and then I will share you a couple of questions which you use to get in the examinations. I will show. I've just created a server in Azure Cloud, so I will just do that. Currently, I don't have a lab session as of now. So I'll just do in the terminal itself. Okay. So in the exam, how your the setup will be is, so you will be having two nodes. So your base mission will be a Red Hat mission. So from that you will be having two two VMs, node 1 and node 2. So if you click on that Red Hat symbol, so you will able to view the exam. So in that you will able to see all the questions over there. So in node 1 what you need to do, and in node 2 what you need to do, and then um, so you will get all the passwords in that page itself. If you click on the view exam page, and then VM monitor, in the sense you will be able to see two nodes, node 1 and node 2. So you need to perform all the operations in that node only. So in case if you want to take a SSH from the base machine, from your Red Hat machine, you can click on the terminal. So you can take SSH by using the SSH command, SSH username at node 1 or node 2 you can use. But initially, the SSH login will be disabled. The thing is, the root login will be disabled default. So first, what you need to do, first you should not go into the terminal. So first try to log in as a node 1. Go to node 1 and try to log in. Enable the root login first. So you just go inside this. Just you just go inside the SSH configuration file. VI etc SSHE underscore config. So this is the configuration file for SSH. Just scroll down. You can see permit root login as yes. So here it is already there. But in the exam, you will be seeing as permit root login not prohibited. There is an option as not prohibited, right? So it is commented, and then you will see that option. Just remove that not prohibited, and then mention yes, permit root login and yes, and remove the command symbol and save this file. Then restart your session. Systemctl restart. SSHE is the service name for SSH. So once you try to restart your session, then what you can do is you can take SSH from the terminal itself directly. So you may have one question. So you can directly go to node 1 and you can do everything from node 1 itself, right? Why I should take a terminal session? The thing is, when you log in from this VM monitor as node 1, you cannot copy paste. So here you can copy something and paste in the putty, right? But in the exam, copy paste will, by default, it will be disabled. So if you want to copy paste some URL, in the second question will be configuring the repository. In that case, URL you can't type everything, right? You will make some mistake. So in that case, don't go with the the VM monitor. Just try to log in with the terminal session. Okay. So the next thing, I mean, to view the question paper, I've already told you that. Just click on that Red Hat page. So you can see in which node you need to perform. For example, configure the network and then configuring repository. All these 13 questions you should do only in node 1. So if you do this question, if you just try to log in as node 2 and you do this question, means it will not be considered, because if at the back end everything they are accessing via script only, right? So it is not considered. So you should be very careful while logging into the machine. So first, what you do, just try to log in into node 1 and do all the I mean, just work out all the questions, then try to log out from node 1, then go for node 2. Okay, so for node 2 you need to reset the root password and all. And then I mean, you'll be able to see the host name, and then you username and password will also be mentioned in this file, it's in this page itself. Okay, so here it shows node 1 and node 2. If you click on this VM monitor, it shows node 1 and node 2. So if you want to access the console, click on node 1 console. So in this console, you cannot copy paste anything. So you can work everything, but copy paste will be disabled. For that reason only, I've asked you to reset the, I mean, enable the root login. Okay. So then, if you want to reboot the server, you can mention. Just click on this left hand side, the first option. Then click Control Alt Delete. So if you click on that Control Alt Delete, your session will be rebooted. So the first question is you need to reset your root password. In node 2, first question will be you need to reset your root password. So to reset the root password, you need to go to the booting menu. For that case only, you just go to this options, Control Alt Delete. So then you will be able to reset the root password over there. Okay. So now we'll see one by one. The first question will be you need to set the host name for the server. So for that, you need to mention the command host name ctl, or else I will show here itself. The first question will be you need to set the host name. The command for that is host name ctl set -host name, and then you need to mention the host name of that. The host name will vary from one person to another person. So I need to set the host name as server B. You will get as server A likewise. Only the naming convention will change, but the rest all you will get the same questions only. Okay. So just mention host name ctl set -host name, and what host name you need to mention. Just read that question paper properly, and then mention the host name. Okay? And then in the first question itself, you will be asked to change your IP address. Okay. So for that, you need to use the command. First, check what connection you have. NMCLI connection. If you just give NMCLI connection, you will able to see one wired connection 1. Okay. For that wired connection 1 only, you are going to change the IP address, gateway, DNS, and all those things you need to change. For that, use a command NMCLI connection modify. Then just give codes. Just give codes. And then if you give WI and double tap, you will get that name. Or else go log in as log in from the terminal and then copy paste that wired connection 1. Then give IPv4 dot addresses. So what address you got in your question paper, just give that address. Then IPv4 dot gateway, your gateway address and DNS address. Everything you should mention. And then IPv4 dot method. If you just give IPv4 dot double tap, you will get all those options: DNS, method, gateway, addresses. So if you don't remember that name also, just give double tap and then give. Okay, method, it is manual, or else you can mention static also, not an issue. So if you run this, everything will be set. Your IP address, gateway, DNS, and method, everything will be set. Then once you log into the session, you can reset the, I mean, you can enable the root login also. That is what here it is shown. Then try to reboot once, or else if you don't want to reboot, just give the systemctl command, systemctl restart sshd. So go, so once this first question is over, just go to the terminal from this. That is that. Just open this terminal and then log in as a root user. Okay. The second question will be, you need to set your local repo. So if you try to install some packages as yum install httpd, it will try to fetch from the repo, right? Here I don't have repo configured. That is what here it is showing me an error. So in the exam also, a repository will not be configured. Under etc m.repos.d, you will have all the repositories. So if you want to configure a new repo, so here you in exam also you will have redhat.repo, but nothing will be mentioned over there. So you need to configure your own repo for that. So just give vi etc m.repos.d/local.repo. This base URL you will get in the exam question paper itself. Okay, so configure your local repo for I mean the repo URL you will be mentioned there. They will be mentioned. Okay, so just give repo1. You can give anything. The naming it is not mandatory that you need to give repo1, repo2 and all. So you can give my repo or local repo, everything, but it should be in the square in the bracket. You need to mention like this. This also, it is not mandatory that you need to give app stream and all. So you can give anything. Then base URL equal to, just copy paste from your question paper and then give that here. Okay, then GPG check equal to 0, enabled equal to 1. So if enabled equal to 1, your repo will be activated. If it is 0, it will not check for that active repo. So if you want to activate your repo, just give enabled equal to 1. And then similarly, just copy everything. So you don't need to type again and again. Just go to login as terminal and just then copy all those things, paste over here. Just change the name as repo2 and then name equal to BSOS. Likewise, just change the name and the URL. Okay. After that, since this is a latest version, instead of em, you need to use DNF clean all. So it will try to remove any unwanted packages. And then if you give DNF repo list, you will be able to see your to repo. And then if you try to install any packages, it will try to fetch from the local repo which you have configured. Okay, this is the question 2. And then the question 3 will be, they have already created a page in HTTP, but you are getting an error. So if you just mention systemctl status HTTPD, you will be getting an error, and then a journal error also you will be getting. So why it is that is, the default port of HTTP is 80. They would have configured with 82, and then SE manage will be enabled for this. What is SE manage is? It is like a firewall, advanced of the firewall. So for that, you need to add the port in the firewall as well as in SE manage. So to add the port in SE manage, you need to use a command SE manage port -a-t. SE manage port -a. A in the sense add, -t is type. So what type you need to mention. So if you just mention -l grep HTTP, you will able to see the type over there. So you don't need to remember all those things. Just mention SE manage port -l grep HTTP. You will able to see HTTP underscore port underscore t. So this is the type, and then -p is for protocol, whether it is TCP or UDP. So that protocol, and then what port you want to add. It is 82. Okay, you will get an error message over there. If you mention system CTL status HTTPD stating that, or else you can open journal CTL-XC. In that, it would show, I mean, you will directly get that 82 port is not opened in SC manage like that. So once you add that port in SC manage and try to list, so now I am able to see 82 port in SC manage. Then add the port in the firewall also. To add the port in the firewall, use this command: firewall -cmd -permanent space add -port equal to 82/TCP. Then reload the page once. Then now try to restart the HTTP. Just try to start the HTTP. You will able to see that the session is active. So since here we are testing, they are trying to install. When we are trying to install HTTP and trying to check the status, but in exam, the package will be already installed. To check the status, it will be in disabled state. It will not be in disabled state. It will be throwing an error. The reason is 82 port is not added in the AC manage. Okay, just try to add. So if you don't remember that command, also not an issue. Open this SSH configuration file. Okay, SSH configuration file. You will be able to see the command over there. SC manage port -a-t. Just change this type alone. So what is the type of HTTP? This HTTP underscore port underscore t -p TCP. Then mention the port number. So you don't need to memorize all those things. Okay, just give SC manage port -l. So if it shows command not found, the two things, your command will be wrong, or you don't have relevant packages for this command. So just mention what provides SC manage. Okay. Here I don't have a local repo configured. Okay, that's what it is throwing an error. Okay, just copy that command from SSH configuration file. So if you don't remember that command, just go to SSH configuration file and copy. Also, you can get this HTTP underscore port underscore t when you mention SC manage port -l. If you list, try to grab HTTP, and then you will be able to see the type also. You can edit this command directly. Okay. So this is the third question. When it comes to fourth question, you will be asked to create a group user, and then need to set the password for the user. Okay. So if you want to create a group, you need to mention the command group add and admin. Group add followed by the group name you need to mention. So you will get one name, right? Just read the question paper properly and then mention that group name over there. And then if you will be asked to add a user in this group as a secondary user. Okay, if you want to add a user in group, you need to use the command user add -G. The first is the group name. So I'm going to add the user Ari in admin group. Okay, so for that you need to use the command user add -G group name and username. Similarly, Natasha, I'm going to add in admin group. So use the same command. Okay, and then you will get to create. You need to create a user with no login. So you should not be able to log in into that user. So for that reason, you need to change the shell type while adding the user. Okay, user add -s/bin/no login space username. So if you mention like this, shell type is no login. If you mention su-Sarah, when you try to log into that Sarah user, you will not be able to go into that user. Okay, So in that case, you can use this command. And then to set the password for the user, you need to mention password space username is enough. But if you want to see what password you are trying to set, for that case, you can use --std in. If you mention like that, you can able to see the password what you're typing. The password you, for example, the password you want to set for array will also be mentioned in the question paper. That password only you should set. So you cannot set your own password. Okay. So the password for array, Natasha and Sarah, for all those three users, you will ask to set a single password. Okay. For example, password, or else I need to set a password as rent pot. That password I need to set for all the three users. So I have done that. Okay. Next, the fifth question will be, you need to create a directory. Okay. I mean, parallel directory. So inside comment, you need to create admin. Likewise, parallel directory. If you want to create, you need to mention -p /comment/admin. Okay. And then you need to change the group name for that directory. So mkdir /common/test, something I'm just giving. So if you want to create a directory, you can use mkdir directory name. But if you want to create a parallel directory, in the sense inside one directory I need to create another directory, so in that case you need to use the command -p. Okay. Then you will be asked to change the permission, I mean group permission for that particular directory. See here, this is the group name, root. Username, sorry, this is first one is username and the second one is the group name. So you will be asked to change the group name for that particular directory. So for that case, you need to mention change group, and then what group name you need to set, that will be mentioned in your question paper. Just mention that name and then the directory name you need to mention. Then you need to you will get the question as only user and group should modify the file, other user should not modify the file. I mean, they should not have the permission. Likewise, you will get in the question paper. So in that case, the first three field is for user, next three field is for a group, and next three field is for other user. Okay. So other user should not have permission, means you need to set the password, I mean ownership as 770. The last three field should be as -. For that case, you need to mention 770. So just check for which directory you need to change. Okay. And then change for that particular directory. ll-d/com. So if you check after modifying 770, the last three field will be empty. So just give ll-d and check whether you have changed the permission or not. Okay. Here they have shown, right? And then you need to mention, you will be get, for example, I just created one /common user, right? So previously they've asked to change the ownership group name for this file. Just mention chgrp and then mention any group name and then /com. So if you just mention, if you change this group name for this particular directory, the group ownership for this directory will be changed. So in case in future you're going to create another directory or file inside this directory, so if you try to create a new file, your ownership will be root only. Okay. So if you want the ownership, the group name as, what is the name? Admin in that case, you need to mention the command as g plus s. Chmod g plus s, the directory name is. In future, if you create any file, that file group name will be admin only. So for that case, you need to use this command. Just try to, after mentioning this, try to switch over that particular user, Harry, and create a file, empty file over there. You will be able to see that the ownership, I mean the group ownership is as admin or not, when you're getting the same output or not. Okay. So this is the fifth question. And then the sixth question will be for AutoFS. AutoFS in the sense, when you try to switch over as one user, that particular mount point should be mounted automatically. So you would have heard NFS, right? NFS is a file share from one server to another server. Similarly, AutoFS is also file share, but when you try to log in as some user, it will try to automatically mount. So that is the purpose of AutoFS. So for that, try to start the service once. Package will not be installed because we need to start from the scratch. So try to install the package, start the service, give a start AutoFS. AutoFS is the service name, and then enable across reboot. If you want your service to be in running state, give enable AutoFS. Then check get TNT password production file. Production file is the username. Get TNT password in the sense you're viewing the group user details. This production file, or you will get some other name in your question paper. Just read what username they are mentioned over there. Okay. So the first thing is you need to go inside the auto.master file. In that auto.master file, just mention the directory. I mean the server, NFS server directory. That will be mentioned in your question paper. So which directory has been shared to your machine, likewise. So they have shared /localhome directory to your machine. Just mention that local home, and then rest just point this etc auto.misc file over there. So in this etc auto.misc file only, you need to mention all the details. I mean the server, NFS server details, and then username. All those things should be mentioned in the auto.misc file. But in the master file, just mention the directory name and to which file you need to point. Likewise, you just mention. So you need to point the auto.misc file. It will try to read from the auto.misc file and it will try to mount. Okay. So in the master, you just mention the pointer file name. Then go inside etc auto.misc file. Mention there the first field you need to mention is your username. They have mentioned production file, and then give read and write access for that file. Okay. Then mention your NFS server host name, server ea.lab.example.com, and then which file they have shared from the server, user-own/production file they have shared from the NFS server. So that thing you need to mention here. So don't worry, this host name and then this directory name will be mentioned in your question paper directly. Okay, then just mention the host name : the directory name. After that, try to restart your NFS file, NFS service. So once you try to restart your NFS service, just switch over to that user production file. So once you switch over that user, your directory will be automatically mounted. Just give df-h, you will be able to see that a NFS share has been mounted successfully by using df-h. So this is the sixth question. Moving to the seventh one, you need to set a cron job for a particular user. it might be any user. Okay, cron tab -eu, just mention the username. So there, here they have mentioned Harry. Okay, then this question will vary. So you will get, you need to set a cron job every 3 minutes, 3 minutes once, or 2 minutes once, or 12 o'clock, 12:30. You need to mention, you need to run this cron job. So it may vary. Okay, so just mention the cron entries over there. The first field is minutes, hour. For example, if it is 3:57, in that case, just mention 58 first. Minutes you need to mention, then hours, then date, month, followed by your day. Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, that day you need to mention. If it is for every day, you need to mention star, star, star. So every day by 12:30, this particular cron will be executed. This hello you need to print /bin/echo hello. So this will be mentioned in your question paper. So according to your question, just change this entry, either bin echo hello or bin echo message. Likewise, just change that entry. Then you need to configure this cronning. So your time should be synced with some specific server. So in your question paper, you will get the server name, I mean the host name for that. So for that, just go inside this crony.conf. First check whether the package is installed or not. For me, the package is already installed. I've directly entered into this etc crony.conf file, and then mention server followed by the host name, which is mentioned in your question paper, and then followed by iburst. Just look up the above entry and make the same changes. So if you see any other entries over there is uncommented, for example, for me, this above line is uncommented with some entries because it is trying to sync with some other server. But what we need to do, we need to sync only with this classroom.example.com. So for that reason, I've just commented the previous entry and then added my new entry as server classroom.example.com followed by iburst. So after you make this entry, save this file, just wait for 1 or 2 minutes because it will take some time to sync, right? So then restart the service and then check your entity status. I mean the chronic source. It will show the server IP address as 172.25.254.254. It is showing here, right? Also, you will be able to see that classroom.example.com. Okay, the server which you have mentioned in the crony.conf file. Okay. Then the 9th question will be, so you need to find all the files of a particular user and then place inside one particular directory. For example, there will be a user as Lavanya. So I will be having a set of files, 10 of 15 files. So I need to find what are the files under my particular under my user, and then I need to place that in one file /root/find.user file. For that, you need to mention the command find / is the parent directory. Just mention / because everything will come under the parent directory only, right? So just mention / followed by -user space username. So what you got in a question paper, just mention that username, -type what I need to find the files for a particular user. So for that, I mentioned -type space ef. Okay, you will get all the files. So first you check whether you're getting files or not. So after that, I mean, you got all the files, right? Then execute the same, same command. Just mention -exec cp curly braces. So in this curly braces, it will try to fetch the output of the previous command. Okay, that is the source. It will fetch all the output. For example, /home /Sarah /bash _ logout. So that file will be mentioned over there, and then where we need to copy under /root /find.user. At the last, just mention a slash and then colon. So it is like a shell script. Okay, just try to copy. Just mention this. So it will try to copy all the files of Sarah user to find.user file. Okay, so this is the 9th question. And then the 10th question will be, you need to find a particular word from a particular file. For example, I need to find a word home from etc/password. In that case, you need to mention grep what word you need to find. So I need to find home word. So just mention that in a quotes and then mention your file name over there /etc/password. Okay. So after finding that the word, I need to redirect that output to a file. Which file? That file name will be mentioned in your question paper. Here they are mentioning /root /search.txt. So it will try to find that particular word and then it will try to copy the entire line which have home inside in that line. Okay. So this is the 10th question. So in the question paper, you need to copy the entire line with a particular word like home. So you need to use this command, grep that name and then the file name. So it has been redirected to a destination file over there. And then the 11th question will be, you need to create a user with the particular user ID. So if we just mention user add followed by username, you will get a random user ID. For example, cat etc/password. So if I mention here test user, I have 100. Test user, I have user ID as 1000. Okay. So if you try to create another user, so you will get the user ID as 1001. Cat etc/password. User add learn. So if you try to create another user, the user ID will be 1001. So it will continue 1002, 1003, 1004 likewise. So in your case, you want to create, if you want to create a user ID with a specific user ID, just mention user add -u, your user ID, and then the username which you need to create. So this is how you need to create with a custom user ID. Okay. So that is the 11th question. And the 12th question will be, you need to create a backup. This will be a question. You need create a backup as /var/temp as root test.tar.gz. Okay. So if you get like that, if it is gz, it is gunzip. If it is bz2, if the extension is bz2, it is a bunzip. Okay. So if it is a gunzip, you need to use z in the command. So if it is bz2, you need to use small j. If it is, I will mention in the notepad itself. So there are three compression. Okay, compression technique. One is gzip, bzip2, and then XZzip. Okay. So if you want to compress using gzip, you need to use small z. In case of bzip, you need to use small j. In case of XZzip, you need to use capital J. So this is the only difference between all these three compression techniques. Okay. So for bzip, you won't have relevant packages to run that command. So if you just mention tar hyphen jcvf, it shows command not found. So for that case, try to install the package of gzip, bzip2, and then execute the command tar hyphen zcvf. Z is for gzip, C is for compression, V is for verbose, F for forceful. So C is for compression and V is for verbose. Verbose in the sense below you are getting right, var temp systemd. So this file has been compressed. So if you want to see all those details, you will get as V. Okay. Then F is for forceful. So in case if you have multiple files under a particular directory, one by one it will be asking whether I need to compress this, whether I need to compress this. Likewise, whether I need to archive this, like that it will be asking. You need to mention yes or no. So if you don't want to mention yes or no, just mention F over there. Then just mention the destination. When you are mentioning copy, cp is the command to copy, right? Copy, first you need to mention the source and then next you need to mention the destination. But in archive, you need to mention the destination first and then the source. So this is the destination. Backup the var temp as they have mentioned some file, right? So what you need to do, you need to backup this var temp. So you need to as well as you need to compress this. They have mentioned gz, right? Also you need to use the command tar hyphen zcvf. Destination you first mention and then the source. Source is var temp. So under var temp, you need to archive all the files as well as you need to compress that file and stored under test/root as test.tar.gz. So this is how this is how you need to run this command. Okay. So this will be your 12th question. So if they are mentioned bz2, just remove this z and then mention j. If they have mentioned xz, remove this j and then mention capital J if it is xz. Okay. Then the 5th question will be you need to set the umask for a particular user. So if your username is Natasha, go to su hyphen that particular username, then mention vim.bash underscore profile. Go to that user, bash underscore profile. Mention the umask value over there. Umask space 277. That is a umask you need to set for this particular user. So if you try to create any files, that file umask will be 277. Okay, that is the umask you need to get. So that thing you need to mention, and then mention source space dot bash underscore profile. So it will be refreshed. Okay. So if you mention umask, you will be able to see what umask is set for that particular user. Then try to log in as you just try to create a file and directory and check whether you got the correct permission for the files and directory or not. Okay. This is how you can check. This question you will get, or else you will get to set minimum and maximum days for a particular if you create a user, the password maximum days should be 20, or minimum days warning age you need to set. Likewise you will get a question. So in that case, just try to log in as etc login.def. Go to that file and then make similar entries. What should be the maximum days, what should be the warning days. mention in your question paper. Just check and then give that entries over there. And then or else you can get to set a sudo a permission for a particular group. For example, here they have mentioned admin, right? So just open vi sudo, just scroll down, but you can mention anywhere in this file, not an issue. If you scroll down, you could see allow people in the group to build to run all commands. That line you can see, right? Just give the group name over there as test group something, and then all equal to all, and then no password. If they have asked you to set no password, just mention no password colon all. So for me, they have asked me to set with no password only. They need to run all the commands. So I've just mentioned no password colon all. Then save this file using WQ. Okay. So you should not change anything in this file. It is an important file. Okay. You need to edit this carefully. Just mention the group name. All should be in caps, equal to all, no password colon all. So if you can refer the above line and you can make the similar entries. And then or else you can get the question as when you try to log in as particular user, you should get a banner message as welcome to cloud and load, or else welcome to something. You need to get the banner message. For that, try to log in as that particular user. Go to bash underscore profile and then give a variable name. So you can give anything, RHCSA equal to some banner name which mentioned in your question paper. Try to export that with the variable name and then mention echo in the sense to print dollar. It will fetch the value of that particular variable name, dollar RHCSA. That thing you need to mention, and then source. Just try to refresh that once. You will get that particular banner message when you try to log in as particular user, as any user as Lavanya or someone else. Okay, so this will be a 15th question. Or else you will get to find a particular file which is under for specific user. For example, you need to find a file under /user/share with the size less than 1 MB. So you need to use this command, find /user/share, which file you need to find, and then type it is a file. So they are mentioned F. So you need to find less than 1 MB means you need to mention -1 M. Then the output should be redirected to /root/my-files. So you need to find all the files under /user/share which is less than 1 MB, and that output should be redirected to a specific file. So in that case, you need to use this command. So it will vary, the size will vary from one person to another person. So I will get as 1 MB, you will get as 100K, likewise. So according to you, just change the command. Okay. So if you are asked to create a script for that, try to create a file, M search. Under that file, just mention your script bin bash. Then if you want to execute that executed file, you need to have execute access, right? So for that case only they have changed chmod +x followed by the file name. So then if you run that file, all the files which is in /user/file with less than 1 MB will be redirected to /root/my-files. Just try to put cat of that file and check whether you got all the files or not. Okay. So this is for node 1. So when you go for node 2, the first question, so you cannot log in to node 2 because you don't get the password for node 2. Only for node 1, they would have mentioned the password. For node 2, you don't have password for that, right? So first thing, you need to crack the root password, change the root password. So that will be your first question. You need to set the root password. So for that, I've told you, right? Before going to the node 2, just I mean, if you have any queries, just let me know. I will explain. Do you have any queries? Okay. If no, we can move to the next node. So in the node 2, you will have to break the root password. In that case, just click on, just open node 2 and then click on the first icon. Just give Control Alt Delete. So if you just mention Control Alt Delete, you will be entering into the boot menu. Okay, just give down arrow and then go to the rescue mode. Down arrow and then go to the rescue mode. Give E in the sense to edit. Okay, in the boot option, you need to edit. If you just give edit, you will able to see 3 lines. Just go to the second line, which is mentioned as Linux, right? At the end, you need to add rd.break. This word you need to add rd.break. Then mention Control X. If you mention Control X, it will try to reboot. I mean, boot again. Just edit the grep mode. Go to the grep mode and then give rd.break and then give Control X. It will try to boot, and after few minutes, you will be able to see a console. Then type mount -o space remount rw / sysroot. So you are trying to mount under /sysroot. Okay, then give chroot / sysroot. So this command is to, you are changing your directory to sysroot directly. For example, you're mounted under /sysroot, right? If you run any command, it will try to execute as that root user only. So if you want to go to that sysroot directory disk, you need to mention chroot / sysroot. Then break your mention your password. Password space sd in space the root username you need to mention. Set your root password. So that root password will already mention in your question paper. Okay, just mention that root password. Then create a file under slash as .auto relabel. After setting a password, just try to create this file and then mention permit root login as yes in sshd underscore configuration file. But this is not mandatory. So if you want to if you want to log in from the terminal, so in that case you need to change the root permit root login to yes. Then give exit twice. It will try to reboot again, and you will be asked for username and password. In that case, then you will be successfully logged in with the current password you have set for root. Okay, so only 2 things. Just give Control Alt Delete over there. It will try to boot. Then it will ask for a rescue mode, right? While booting, just give down arrow and then give edit. Press E, and then in the Linux line, mention rd.break, then give Control X. It will try to boot again. Try to mount that in a sysroot. Change your path to /sysroot. Set your root password and then create a hidden file under slash as auto relabel. It should be label. Okay, with this name, just try to create a file and then give exit. It will try to reboot. So this is your first question in node 2. So if you then crack this root password, you will not be able to log into the next node 2. You will not be able to do any questions. So this is very important. Okay, so once you break the root password only, you will be able to do all these questions. If you know all these questions, but if you don't crack the root password, means you can't do anything. Okay, so this is very much important. Okay. The next question, second question will be, in the first node we have set the repositories, right, under m.repos.d local repo. The same similar steps you need to follow in the node 2 also. You need to set the repository under etc m.repos.d. Okay. The next third thing will be, you need to set free swap space for a but with 500 or 600 MB. You need to do that. For that, go to fdisk/dev/disk name. So the disk name, if you don't know the disk name, just mention lsblk. If you just mention lsblk, you will get the disk name over there. So here they have mentioned VDB, right? So here we have multiple disks, but in exam you will have only two disks. One is the default root disk as VDA and one VDB. So you need to set swap space under VDB only. So you will not have CD and all. Only one disk you will have. And just go inside F disk. You need to set the partition, right? So just go inside the F disk. Give N. N is to create a new partition. P, just give P. Type P over there. P is the primary partition. Partition number 1. First sector, you should not enter anything. Then in the last sector, just mention what size of swap you're going to create. Plus 512M. You need to mention which MB, what is the swap space. The first sector you should not mention, and the second sector you need to mention. So after creating a partition, give T again. T is to change the type. So I'm just going to change the type to swap. So we are going to create a swap memory, right? So just give T and then partition number. Since we have only one partition, it is directly set as 1. But if you have multiple partition, it will be asking you for a partition number. Just mention the correct partition number. Okay, over here. So I have just mentioned 1. And then type you need to mention SWAP as swap. Or else you don't know what you need to mention. Just give L. It will list all the EXA code and alias name over there. Just give the EXA code of swap as 64 or else type swap if you know already. So it will show change type of the partition Linux to Linux swap. So after creating a swap space, just give W and then W is to write that partition and then come out. So after that, create a file system as mk swap space. The disk name you need to mention. So the disk name I mentioned is VDB1. So under VDB, I just created another partition, right? That is a swap. So you should not use VDB. You should give VDB1. In the sense, under VDB only, I have created another partition number 1 as swap space. So give VDB1. Then if you reboot, this swap will not be present. So in that case, just make a permanent entry in FS tab, VIETC FS tab. Go to that VIETC FS tab, mention your disk name, and then swap defaults space 0 space 0. Just mention that, and then give free -h, then give swap on -a, and then free -h. You will be able to see the swap space over here. Okay. And then the fourth question will be, you need to create a LVM. VG or LVM. Okay. Similarly, we have created a partition for swap, right? Similarly, try to create another partition. Just set the EXA code or alias to LVM. Instead of swap, just give LVM. Here, Okay, so I'm just give n. P is for primary partition, partition number, first sector, enter. So what size you are going to set for this particular LVM, give that size plus 2G, and then type for which partition you are going to change. See here, previously it doesn't ask you for a partition number because we had only one partition, but here we have, here you need to mention the partition number. So we just mention 2. We will try to set the partition uh, 2 with LVM. Okay, so after creating a partition, LVM partition, try to create VG and then LVM, then try to create a file system, either ext4 or NFS. It's up to you. For me, they have asked me XFS, I believe. I've created XFS partition. After creating file system, just try to create a entries in FS tab. Disk name, where you need to mount, and then the file system name default space 0 space 0. Then give mount hyphen a. If you give df hyphen h, you'll be able to see the LVM. Okay. And then the fifth question will be, you need to extend the LVM. I mean, you already created an LVM, then you need to extend the LVM. So if you want to extend the LVM, you need to use the command lv extend hyphen small l. They would have asked to create with, extend a LVM with 100 extend, like that they would have asked. For that, they have mentioned hyphen L, 100 space hyphen R. R is to resize. So if you don't mention hyphen R, you need to mention the command resize to FS for XFS and XFS underscore grow FS for XFS file system. So again, you need to mention that command. So if you don't want to mention that command, so directly mention hyphen R and then disk name. If you give RDF hyphen H, the LVM would have been extended to 100 extend. See here, it shows 400 MB has been extended to 800 MB. So next, the last question will be, you need to set the tuned files, tuned as per recommended. Okay, so for that, just install tuned package, start the tuned service, and then just check what is recommended for your system. Give tuned hyphen ADM recommend. So you would get virtual hyphen guest, right? So just give tuned hyphen ADM, set your profile to virtual hyphen guest, and then activate, then try to restart the service. Okay. And then this two questions, 13th and 14th question is containers. You should do in your node 1 itself. At last I have mentioned, but this two questions you need to do in node 1. So in node 2, you will get only these 6 questions. So the two for this container question, you need to SSH to that particular user. So you'll get a question in the 13th question, to which user you need to perform all this. I mean, to build the image and all. So you'll have one question. So here they have mentioned a student, right? So what I did is I got 0 mark in containers. The thing is, I just did all these two things, but what I did, instead of taking SSH as user, student user, I just mentioned SU hyphen and then username. I just switched over to that user and then perform. I have just built all the images from they have just mentioned the username alone. So I just mentioned SU hyphen username and did all the things, but I got 0 mark. The thing is, I didn't take SSH. I just mentioned SU hyphen username. So you should not switch to another user. If you switch as another user also, you are executing all the things as root user only, right? Not as student user. So for that, I got 0 marks. So don't forget to take SSH of that user. SSH student username at node 1 or node 2. I mean, sorry, node 1 you need to mention. Okay. And then take a root session also. Okay. the first thing you need to do is you need to build a image. So for that you need to use podman build hyphen t. They would have mentioned as you need to create an image with monitor. So type they mentioned monitor space dot. Dot in the sense you are creating image from that. Sorry. The first you what you need to do is you need to wget a URL. Okay, they would have mentioned one URL. So just mention wget space URL name. You will get a container file over there. So from that file only you are building a image. Just mention podman build hyphen t monitor dot. So dot in the sense the current path. It will try to search in the current path itself. Okay, if you mention podman I space images, you will be able to see a image over there. So I have done all these things as a root user. So I got 0 mark. Just try to take SSH of that user and do this. So this is the first question. And the second question is you need to you need to run that container with volume mounted as slash opt slash files and another volume mounted as slash opt slash processed. Everything you should do only as student user, not as other user. So in that case you don't have that volume in your machine, right? Just try to create the volumes as opt files and slash opt process. This file name directory name you will get in your question paper itself directly. Just create those files, sorry, directories, and change the ownership of that files to student. You need to execute these commands as a root user, not as a student user, because as student user you will be able to run the container and run, to build the image. For that only you will have access. To create a directory you don't have access. So for that try to log in as two session, one with root and one with student user. So as root user try to create a files and try to change a permission as 777 for those directories, and the ownership as student. Username should be student, group name should be student. And then run this command login ctl space enable hyphen linger space student. Okay, after this try to run the container as podman run hyphen d. The name they would have already mentioned that you need to set only this name ASCII to PDF. And I'm just going to mount the files as slash opt. So this file names will be mentioned in your question paper. And then the opt files colon to which directory you want to mount. Those things you just mentioned. And then finally the image name just mention, and then you will be able to see the container is running up over there. And then the container is running properly. So the next thing is you want to see only PDF file over there. Just a minute, I will check the question. Okay, all the files should be in PDF only, it seems. So for that, just go inside any one of the volume which you have mounted and check the file type of that, whether it is PDF or not. If you check, you should get only PDF file. PDF document. It shows PDF document, right? So then you're correct. Then you need to enable system D for that user. For that, try to create a file under system D as user. Okay, mkdir-p dot config slash system D slash user. The dot config try to create system D and user. So go to that system D and then generate system D. I mean, enable this thing, enable the files for that. Podman generate system D hyphen name. Name you mentioned as ASCII to PDF hyphen new space hyphen file. You need to run this command and then reload the systemctl. If you done that and then try to mention podman -ps, you will be able to see that your container is running up. So that's it. Do anyone have any queries in this? Are you able to understand what I'm saying, or I'm a bit fast, right?
Yeah, we can understand. Yeah.
Okay. Do anyone have any queries? Let me know. I can explain it again.
Yes, Lavanya, it was completely understandable. You have conveyed all the questions step by step very simply.
Okay. Thank you.
Like I have one question. Like initially you stated like we have node 1, node 2, terminal, right?
Yeah.
So those things are how we will know, like as a new person, right? You are telling you already done it, that's why you know it. But how to know, like for a new person, like this environment will be like this. We have to do like that only.
Actually, I'm not sure. But when you try to log in, I mean, when you go and sit over there in your exam, you will able to see this question. So you need to understand by yourself. You should have that knowledge. Just try to click on one symbol and then another symbol, and just read what is given over there. Likewise, you need to understand. So there will be a instruction over there. So if you click on a red hat symbol, you will have a page of instruction. You need to read that instruction and then you need to follow. So under this, you have mentioned, they have mentioned, right? You have to configure this to host name with the following requirements, like that. The username is red hat. So it took me around 10 minutes to understand that. So there they would have mentioned all your username and password. So you need to read that carefully first. And then there will be a pop-up. Click this icon to open question paper. Click this to open node 1. So you will get the pop-up also over there. So you can easily get.
Okay. So the order we need to complete in same, like can we not do first node 2, then come to node 1 like that, or it's
Yeah, you
mandatory?
can do that. You can do that. It's completely depends upon you, but you should not change anything. What I did is I've just completed all the questions from node 1. I didn't get two outputs. So what I just left that and then gone with node 2. So after completing node 2, again I came back to node 1. So that's not a matter, but you should not get confused. You should not, for example, configure the network they have mentioned, right? You should not do this question in node 2. Should not get confused. If you do that in node 2, you will not get any mark. You will get only 0 mark. So you should be very careful doing that. So that's what I've asked you to complete one. So because you would have opened many putty session, I mean many terminal session, right? So unknowingly, if you done anything wrong, means you will not get any mark. For that reason only, I told you so complete the first one and then go for the next one. But that is not mandatory. It depends upon you totally. You can do 5 questions from node 1 and then you can go to node 2 and you can do another 5 questions from node 2. Again, you can come back to node 1. So that is not an issue.
What is the total duration for this?
3 hours.
Okay. So how do you think, like, as a normal person, the time available is it sufficient, right? Like,
Yeah. If you
okay,
practice once or twice, it will be sufficient. You can
okay,
complete this because these are basics only, right? You can complete it easily. What about others? Do you have any questions? Or if you don't understand any question, means just let me know. I will explain it again.
Mm, okay. So okay, we got this. What is it? Entire procedure. If you want to practice, right, the setup required, some anything installation kind of thing, like, or just a terminal with bash is enough.
A terminal with bash is not enough because, for example, they would have asked to set up a local repository, or for one other question, they would have asked to troubleshoot with HTTP request, right? So that is not possible. We need to have a lab environment for this. So what I did, I just taken lab, exam practice from Advantage Pro. So they provided me lab access, but I didn't practice
Okay.
anything from their lab because I don't have VPN connection. So I just gone through the questions and this PDF, and then directly taken the exam.
Okay. That means that process and all will be same. Might be they might have given different name, different path, different
Mm,
user ID. That
yeah,
will
the
be
name
there,
and
right? Like,
convention will be same, different, or else the file name
okay.
will differ. For example, you need to
So
find this
this is
file, right?
okay. So this is 3 hours, and whether you took it in the center or from the home, like how that scenario is. Like
From
we have to
home,
go.
from the center only I have taken. Why? Because if I take from my home, I need to make my local machine into Red Hat system. They will provide a
Okay.
OS for that. If you take an online exam, if you register for an online exam, they will provide you a set of instructions for you. So you need to have an external camera for that. So you'll have set of guidelines, but I'm not sure about that guidelines because I've never took
Okay.
one online. But up to me, there are 2 points. You need to have an external camera, and then you need to make your base machine to Red Hat, and you need to run something uh, on your local machine to make the exam setup available. So for that reason only, I've taken from the center directly.
Okay. Okay. So what is the cost? Like if you want to apply for the exam normally?
I think 19K plus, but I'm not sure because I got coupon from my office.
Okay. Okay. And does that have this administrator has any validity, like 1 year, 3 year, like that, or it is lifetime? Or is it?
No, there is a validity, but I'm not sure about the time duration.
Okay. Yeah, I got clarified. Maybe I'll try and see if something need. Then I'll come back since we need to practice, right? I think most of the things are very straightforward, but certain places we need to first understand what that is, what that
The
context.
thing is, you need to read the question paper once or twice
Okay,
carefully.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah. It was fine overall. So let me practice, and I'll come to you. Think. I hope this recording will be there for reference, so that we will go back and again we will reiterate that everything and we'll see. In the,
Okay, okay.
yeah, thanks for the session. Actually, it was nice. Over to others if any questions.
Thank you Chi, for your feedback. Atira, do you have any questions? Ranjini, do you have any questions?
No, Lavanya. So once you share this document with me, so I'll go through the each questions and I'll work on it. If I'm stuck with anywhere, I'll reach out. Okay.
Okay, okay. Just let me know if you have any questions. Future,
Sure.
I will help.
Okay, I think I'm stopping the recording.
Okay. Ranjini, do you have any questions?